Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here on So Stitch X. So, I can't pull up the cover because my Amazon Fire, which I nicknamed the Witch's Fire, is not connected to the internet. But you can see a tiny copy of the cover right here. That's the Wi-Fi not connected settings. I have it on Audible. It is Spellbound Hellhounds by Nia Rose. I listened to this audiobook the other day. It's really short. I think the audiobook itself is like 6 hours. It's quick read. So it's an okay book. I got it for free a couple years ago when it came out. But I never got the chance to listen to it or review it. It's about a hunter named Vanessa. And, one thing that kind of bothered me is that they have pets that are kind of like familiars, but they are like very sentient creatures. Like the one character, Leon, has like a succubus named Lex that is all over Bobo the ogre. Who's like super smart because he was hit with 2 intelligence spells colliding, and it like if it had been timed even differently, he would have fucking exploded, apparently. But it hit him just right, so now he's like super smart and super fancy and so elegant, and like he is my favorite character. That's the only character I actually liked in the book, I'm not gonna lie. The book itself is a magic book, clearly from Spellbound and Hellhounds, you can tell. It is a kind of like a cross between Charmed and Kim Harrison's Rachel Mariana Morgan, The Hollow series, which starts with Dead Witch Walking. I will review the series eventually, I promise. There's a lot of books, and they have a very slow pacing, and they're my favorite, so I've already read them, so reading them again takes even longer, because now I'm noticing more. And I've read them twice, so technically I'd be reading them the 3rd time. But this book is a very, like, similar cross between Kim Harrison and Charmed. So, I took notes because, like, I knew I wasn't going to get to this video right away. But, so, like, they have familiars, and one of the things that bugged me about this book, listening to it, which I honestly didn't like it until about halfway through. So I listened to it for like 3 hours, like, I'm not vibing. I'm not getting it. Because I didn't really... It felt like a cliche. The main character being an orphan and being a powerful witch and being the main character. And so she's like super strong and trying to prove herself. And like, that's like a common woman trope. It's a common orphan trope. And I don't know, it didn't vibe with me this time because I've just read it so many times. I wanted something fresh. It's not that it's bad. It's not bad. It just felt very cliched. What bothered me when I started reading was like how you do have these intelligent, like familiar kind of characters, and like at what point does their level of intelligence turn them from pet to a tax-paying, I guess I should say, citizen? Like, what point does their intelligence entitle them to rights and make them less property and more of an individual? So that kind of did not vibe with me correctly, because I was like, yeah, why isn't Bobo like a person? Like, is it just that people have like an issue with the ogres, or like what is it? I didn't understand a lot about them. Like, the familiars are a big part of the book. The plot was about them discovering like summoning of these familiars basically in this basement, and they're summoning them, and like they're doing it in such a way, some of them are coming out disfigured, they've been experimenting on them, they're just leaving them down there to be fucking miserable and awful, and it's like, holy shit. And when they discovered them, because that's the spoiler part, I guess, when they discovered them, that's when I got interested. I'm like, oh damn. And like Bobo was very much like, we can't leave them down there, we gotta kill these bitches, like we can't let them suffer, these are my people. So like, respect on Bobo. But, like, where are they coming from? Like, I really didn't understand, because they summon the Hellhounds, and the Hellhounds are an issue, but I'm like, are the Hellhounds not able to be familiar pets things? Like, what's stopping them? And then, why are some of these intelligent and some of them not? Like, you hit them with an intelligence potion, but like, or intelligence spell, but why are some subject to that and some not? Why are some more people than others? And then another issue I had with the familiars, because they were very active characters in the story. They weren't just like the mascot, just, hey, I'm here, I'm cute. They were more like interactive. You had a character named Lix, the succubus, who was all over Bobo. And Bobo, my favorite part in the whole story was when Bobo was like, so I'm pretty sure it was after he was drinking, because there's also a problem I have with this. My favorite line for Bobo comes when I'm at my most annoyed. Because, like, in the book, they just keep pumping Bobo with alcohol. Like, there's, like, these creatures running around this tavern or whatever the fuck it is, and they keep giving him drinks. So he's had, like, 4 beers, and he has, like, the tolerance of, like, nothing. So he is plastered, to my understanding. Like, he needed help getting out of there. Plastered. Lix, the succubus, was, like, trying to get him drunk too, to make him loosen up, because she was interested in him and he was not interested in her throwing himself on him. She's like, one of my favorite phrases, I don't remember the exact wording, but it was, if she wouldn't throw herself all over me in public like a floozy, I might be more pliable or something. I can't remember what it was. He'd be more like interested in her if she just would be more of a lady, really play a little hard to get, not just throw herself on. But the way he worded it was so funny. And I liked Bobo. He was very clever and witty. And from what I've read, most people enjoyed Bobo. But Lix, trying to ply him with alcohol to get him to open up, that was kind of, like, uncomfortable. Like, I know that there has to be the comedic familiars, but that was kind of like you're trying to get with this character. Yes, they're both pets, but it's trying to get with them by getting them drunk. And that's, like, there's a consent thing in there somewhere. Like, they're trying to get with them like that by applying them with alcohol. And they don't know that they're not supposed to have that much alcohol. Like, there's a level of intelligence, a level of responsibility, and a level of, like, irresponsibility there that makes me just not like this character, even if they work out kind of in the end. So then her trying to intoxicate him, like, pissed me off. Another thing that I thought was interesting, though, in the book was the Celestials. You have the High Priest Council Room, which has Celestials, and excuse any barking you hear, that's the little dog Charlie, who has no manners, like my dog Pepper. So, like, he will bark at nothing. There are no ghosts. But, the Celestials reminded me of the Celestial Divines in the Charm series. So I really liked this. It's kind of like an egregore for the Coven. It's like this, like, I don't know, this higher power to protect the Coven, but it's also like a deity, but it's not. It seems similar level to, like, the demons, and then with the demons and with the hellhounds and with the familiars, I don't know where they're all coming from. Like, where do they get these creatures? Like, I didn't quite grasp that, because they seem to be from the same place, but they can just pull them out willy-nilly. But some of them are not supposed to be called. So, like, I was really confused on, like, why they had issues. Like, can you just do an obedience potion on, like, a hellhound to make it your dog, like your actual dog? Like, I don't understand. And the Celestials, like, what makes them so much special? Like, could you not have one of those as a familiar? Or is it just like a Coven familiar? Or is it like your own Coven egregore, like when you take care of? So, like, I didn't quite understand, but I really liked the concept. This, like, specific deity for your Coven, basically, the Celestials. And it just felt very, like, high council of the, like, divine from, like, Charmed, like, this, like, these godly, like, angels. Like, I thought that was really cool. I also didn't really like the Leon Vanessa trope that was going on. I didn't really like Leon. He felt really dry to me. I don't know. His character just didn't catch my attention. Vanessa didn't catch my attention. So if I don't vibe with the main character, I'm not going to pick up on the book. And if I don't vibe, then I'm really not going to care who they're into. So the fact that they had that like obvious like falling for the guy, they had like a slight like tiny rivalry with it because like they're supposed to keep them out of trouble. That old trope. I didn't really vibe with it, but I did get, really into it by chapter 20. Like, by chapter 20, I was there. I was like, this is good. But, like, at the beginning, I really didn't vibe, which that's not to say it's a bad book. I didn't vibe with the first 10 chapters of The Host by Stephanie Meyer, but that's, like, my top 10 favorite books. I love The Host. After chapter 10, it's fucking golden. Chapter 11 to the end, but you have to get through it. So, it felt very magical. It felt very mystical, and I really did enjoy, but it took me a minute to get into it. Like, I didn't just fall in love with the first word. I am happy that I got it, and I thank the author for the book, and I do recommend you get it. I might recommend getting the Kindle version because I think the magic would feel more real reading it than it is listening to it, because it didn't feel real until the stakes were like, oh shit, there are creatures here suffering in pain. Like, I didn't feel invested until that point, which is not a good thing. That's like, I'm not invested into the stakes or life and death. Like, they were hardcore before, but now they're like serious. And that's when I got invested. So, but yeah, that was that book. I didn't think it was awful. I really didn't. I won't be reading it again. I did give them 5 stars. Of course, because I want to help out the author, because it is a friend of an ex-friend, but I have no beef with him, so like whatever. I've heard some of their books have gotten better since, but yeah, so I'm glad I read it. It wasn't bad. The audiobook, because I do have the Audible, was a really good quality. The voices were okay. Sometimes the voices would be a little weird, like for certain like character moments, but for the most part, it was a really smooth sound. It was a really like good read. I liked it. I turn up my pacing as I'm reading, so I start at 1.55 and then I move it up until I'm at 3. So like I be moving. Because if you move it up like 0.10 every few minutes, then you can get it to where you're like hearing a buzz if you're like a normal person. But once you've adjusted yourself to it, you can listen to a book in like 10 minutes. Like, it's pretty fun. But yeah, that's when once I was up to 3 and I got to that, like, oh shit, stuff is serious. That's when I was at 3. And I was like, this is good. So, like, when I was at the 1.5, I was like, this is way too slow. I'm not really liking what's going on. This feels too cliche for me. But after I got into it, like, it got going. It was good. So, yeah. So that's what I thought of that book. If you are interested in, I will put a link in the description below. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wicked evening, and I hope to see you here next time on So Sit Checks. Bye!